Thank you for remembering to record it.
Like the only time I ever remembered.
Thank you.
Someone usually has to remind me.
And Roland, if you would ever come to a meeting, I bring your hat every time. Jeff, our vice president, is going to show us the schedule for this month and a little into next month.
Right. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Where's all our members? We got 147 members, but 5 plus 20 is 25 here or so. All right.
14 here.
Not complaining. All right, let's see. We need to share schedule. All right. Here we go. Star Wars. Why is it called Star Wars? Because the 4th is with you, right? May
May the
4th be with you. That's right. That's Night Watch, Star Wars. Okay, East Coast Star Party starts a week from today. I'm not signed up, but I will be.
Wait, that Star Wars thing's at the beach, right?
Oh, it is. Let me look real
That's
quick.
at 24th Street.
Yeah, it's the 20. It's the same place we meet normally for the boardwalk. Okay. So it's an extra event. I think we get credit for
Yeah,
coming
they're gonna
too.
pay us for them.
Is that as long
It's
as
a-
we show, even though it rains?
Right.
It'll be okay.
So that's very good.
Be okay.
Very good. All right, so we're gonna go back to this. And let's see, East Coast Star Party. Does everybody know about it? Does anybody need information on it? It's right on Night Sky Network. And all the information's here. There's a link on the Facebook I saw, and it's pretty easy to sign up. All right, it's $60 whether you go 1 day or 4 days. So I'm gonna pay $60 for 1 day. All right. And let's see what else. We got Boardwalk Astronomy again, same place, number 1, and it's going to be clear weather, I'm sure.
What's that date?
That's the 14th of May. Okay. We canceled Astronomy 101. Did you reschedule that?
No,
Kingsville?
I called Gail and talked to Gail, and she said they canceled it. They'll try to schedule another one starting in the
Okay.
fall.
All right, but we're pretty good about showing up for that and getting a lot of potential club members too. So that's a good event to go to. Bring a scope, and right after the presentation that George gives, we go outside and have an observation. Saturday, Sunday on the 18th, and that's at Elizabeth River Park. A lot of fun. We do solar exploring with our solar filters and all kinds of fun things like that. International Astronomy Day is a conflict an hour later. Let me open that up real quick and show you. It's been approved and everything. International Astronomy Day, Portsmouth Library, and they need 4 telescopes. So that's kind of a conflict, and I'm not sure if we have enough people for each one. I'll check, and I will go to the one that's least attended. Okay. Next one is Garden Stars. George gives a great presentation at the Norfolk Botanical Garden, and it's a fun activity. I really encourage everybody to go to these activities. We got a lot of people showing up for it that I've never even met before, and they're club members. So please continue to do that. Corn Watch at Cornlands on the 24th. Skywatch Northwest River Park. We went despite the gloomy forecast last week, and it was great. All of a sudden at 8 o'clock, the clouds cleared. So that's what's going to happen here on the 25th. Same thing. The clouds are going to clear on the 25th at Northwest River Park. Girl Scout encampment the following month on June 1st, and that's at the Williamsburg Camp Skimino. Okay, and I think we went last year. It was a lot of fun. They had a lot of trees around, as I recall, but it's going to be a good event. These great events that we put on are all, free for the public, and I wish we could encourage more participation from the club members too. So sign up for that if you have a free Saturday. James River Camera Club. I'm not sure about that one. What is that one? That's on Thursday, the 6th of June. And it's about learning about astrophotography. And they want to expert photographer like George Konkoff will give the presentation. So that's going to be fun. Temple Baptist Church Newport News. Okay. That's going to be a fun event too. All right. And let's see, where did I leave off? Saturday, Sunday. Oh, it went back to May, didn't it? Okay. James River Camera Club, the 7:30 meeting, the same. That is a conflict, isn't it? 7:30 club meeting at James River Club, and then a club meeting here on next June. So that's kind of a
Well,
conflict.
no, it's not really a conflict because George Konkoff lives in Williamsburg. He
Oh.
never comes to the meeting anyway.
Okay, very good. Corn Watch the 24th, Night Watch over the weekend. Nice dark sky, Boardwalk Astronomy #2. If you haven't been to Boardwalk, I encourage you to come out there. It's a lot of fun, and we get all kinds of people from all over the place. They've never seen things like Jupiter and Venus and stuff like that through a telescope before, so it's a lot of fun. Okay, so I'll skip the rest of these because they're all pretty much the same thing. Does anybody have any questions about getting on Night Sky Network? I know there was a couple of people didn't know how to report the event, you know, that they were at. A couple of people that had trouble. So I don't want to belabor it, but if you need some help, please email me or see me after the meeting, and I'll be glad to show you how to log in and report the event. Okay, any questions about Night Sky Network events? I do have one that's not on the schedule. Monday, they're launching Real Astronauts from Cape Canaveral, Monday evening, I think it is, 10:30 or something like that. And I thought I'd go out to Dam Neck to see it from there. And it's a pretty good southern horizon out of Dam Neck. Is that you're going to go? Where are you going to go, Sean?
Oh, I might join you.
Oh, okay, good. I think Sean's been out there. It's right by
I've gone there before.
Yeah.
It is a good spot.
It's a good spot, and it's right by the Shifting Sands Club. It's very good site. I think you have to have an ID though. So if you need an ID or something like that, give me or Sean a call and we'll be sure and get you in, okay?
Where are you going?
It's Shifting Sand. Well, it's right by the Shifting Sands on Dam Neck
It's on base.
on the base.
Oh, okay. Is that a Wallops lodge?
Oh, no, it's
No.
Cape
With
Canaveral.
the nest or like,
Where do you find out? I'd like to get on some website for them to tell me when
Well,
they're launching.
I'll let Sean answer that because he's got a place that broadcasts it.
it's called Space Launch Now website, and you can see different launches based on the site, the location, or the company who's launching, stuff like that. You break it down, but
This is
it's
a-
called Space Launch Now.
This is a Boeing launch
It
too.
won't tell you. You have to look at it.
We'll show
Well,
you the schedule.
If we have
Yeah.
Magic Mirror, which I
yeah,
might
we
see,
don't use a magic mirror, so it shows up on the screen
all the time, you know.
It rotates through and we see it, but you might be able to go and get like some type of calendar notification thing on there.
Probably an RSS feed out there.
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
right.
Is this an Artemis? What kind of rocket is it?
Atlas 5.
It's Atlas V by Boeing, the Boeing outfit. Their name is not too
Not
good.
787.
Not the 787, the one that launches into space.
It's supposed to go
So-
up.
It's just a modified 787.
Oh, is that all it is? Okay, good. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Or better stay on.
Yeah.
I'm definitely coming to damn neck to watch this one.
So,
Catch the door.
so is that this coming Monday?
That's this Monday. Yeah, I'll stick it on Night Sky Network and see how
Yeah,
many people want
What
I'll-
time is
Yeah,
it?
they said,
to. I think it's 10:30.
10:34,
10:34. Okay.
and they said weather's 90% go already,
Okay.
so they're confident.
Great.
Good.
Now, if I can unshare, did somebody already unshare me?
Yeah.
Did I get
We just
unshared?
Eddie to video it again.
Yeah.
That
was
great.
awesome.
Yeah, that was a great-
Oh, behind this thing. There we go.
Saw the thing going up.
There was an extra band up there.
I wonder
That's
what
the
the,
best one I've seen.
I wonder what the
Okay.
visibility is gonna be like for Atlas 5. I've never watched 5 from here go up.
Okay, next report is the secretary's report, but we don't have any secretary here today. So we'll dispense with the reading of the minutes without even having to vote on it. Okay, treasurer's report. It's all yours, Rich.
All righty. We have a lot of money. So we have, you know, $15,500 in our spread across our different accounts. That was an increase of over $2,000 in this month. That was driven by several, actually two major things. We sold over $1,000 worth of eclipse glasses in the month. Like every week, George would give me a text. Oh, I just put $500 in the account. Oh, I put another $500 in the account. We made a pretty good money on those glasses. So that windfall has now passed. And also we got a lot of payments in for East Coast Star Party. And you know, we've taken a lot of money in, but we haven't paid a lot out. We have some expenses that are going to hit here pretty soon for that. So that was the big drivers on cash in the month. And this is probably going to be the high point because we have most of our big expenses are coming up. But we'll still be more than fine overall because we're in a pretty strong financial position at the moment. We are up to 179 members. That was an increase of 5 new members for the month, which is pretty average. Usually it's 3 to 5 is about there. So our scholarships are good. 3,400 in the primary, 2,500 in Georgia June. We did really well on the Georgia June raffle. I think having that cool Star Sense telescope really helps because we drove a lot more ticket sales than normal. So that was the month. Speaking of East Coast Star Party, bring it up. So far for the Star Party, our goal is to break even on these. We've taken in $2,000 and we spent 1,300 and some change at the moment, but we have some expenses up. We're got to spend about $400 on t-shirts, 200 to the park, 200 or so on food. So that's 800 but $800-900 that are still has to go out. So we're positive 650 now. If all things ended today, we probably end up at a like $150 or so loss. So a couple more people signing up would be good. 3 people, we probably break even is what we anticipated. We may have overspent because after we did really well on the one fall, we like let's spend more on raffle prizes. So we spent a lot of money on raffle prizes, and so we didn't have necessarily, we may or may not recoup all of that. But overall, we're probably going to hit our goal about breaking even. What we're trying to do, we're not trying to make money on these things. So if anyone has any questions, hit me. I will answer. If not, we can move on.
Well, the East Coast Star Party, we bought the lights, remember? That was like an expense of 4 years probably, or 4 Star Parties worth.
Yeah. So some of the that's one of the things that that is true. Some of the things and that was part of the first one is we had some upfront costs that we probably won't incur again. We're spending a little bit more money here again, but we won't need to spend that money in future ones. So we will continue with each event to reassess to really make sure make sure we're not overcharging, undercharging, if we can do something else for the membership. So yeah, we will take those things into factor when we at the end of the day, kind of like I did after the last one, look at what went out, what came in, and keep that going.
Rich, can I ask a question about the solar eclipse glasses?
Yep.
Do you have it broken down at how much money we took in for the solar eclipse glasses by itself?
I do not, but I could figure that out. I probably don't want to because I would have to go through back because remember we bought those things. Well, it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we sold it like we sold a bunch of them when there was that annular eclipse back in like October, so they've been being sold kind of periodically through the thing. So I could go back and figure that out. It would be a major pain to do that, but I could do that if you're interested.
If we can figure out how many we have left over, we can subtract that from
I'll tell you what I got in my house. I have 800.
I have 800.
Okay, so keep talking about those solar eclipse classes.
Yes.
So we're gonna make
1,600
some
left
money
over.
in 2045.
I've also got a few $100 share for solar eclipse classes.
Okay,
Oh.
I'll put that in the bank tomorrow.
The location I ended up for the eclipse was not a lot of people and everybody had their own glasses. I didn't sell one pair of glasses.
Yeah, same here. Okay, any other questions about the, yes, Jeff?
The raffle, was that drawn last month for the telescope?
Yes.
Who was the grand prize winner?
Then.
Ben Loyola, and he wants us to donate it to a school.
Oh.
I haven't contacted the
has
school
someone-
yet, but I've
We have
got,
someone in mind for it.
okay. Any other questions about the treasurer's report?
I will make one last note. Another boom besides solar glasses with the eclipse is we did get a couple donations on the website. Like one person just donated through PayPal and said, Vince gave a presentation to us at the eclipse. Here's $100. All right, cool. And
Yeah, somebody in Waco gave Jeff Goldstein $200.
yeah, people gave him $200, and so yeah, we took in extra money just from we were out doing these eclipse events, and people hit us with some cash. So
And Paul, I gave Paul Sood about 100 eclipse glasses to sell, and he didn't realize they were $1 a piece. He sold them for $3 a piece.
it's still a good deal. Yeah.
Scalping them.
The one club was $5.
So we made we did okay on the eclipse glasses.
There's a lot of people ripping off money.
Yes.
But then we also get this. I was in Cincinnati, and the schools were getting them, the teachers were giving them to the kids for free, something like that.
Okay, any other questions about the treasurer's report? We have a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Okay.
It's been motioned. Do we have a second?
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Treasurer's report has been accepted. Okay, there is no secretary. I mentioned that. We don't have a secretary's report. And I do not see Ben Loyola anywhere, either on Zoom or in the building. So we do not have a scholarship report, but I will say this. Yesterday, May 1st, was the deadline for scholarship applications to be postmarked. So this week, we should be checking the mailbox and hopefully getting some applications. And the scholarship committee will be meeting in another week or two. After all, we're sure all the applications have come in, and we will be choosing this year's scholarship winners. We will also debate on the amount of the scholarship. Since we do have quite a bit in the scholarship fund, we may be able to give a little bit more this year than in the past. So, any questions or comments on that? All right, let's go to the next thing on the list. Old business. Well, we already mentioned that. I was going to bring up old business as eclipse glasses. How many do we have left over? It sounds like if Sean has 800, I just counted mine today. I have about 800. And so no, that's no problem. It's going to be more eclipses coming up. And we can advertise the one in, yes, I see that hand. I see that hand.
Point of order, you skip the alcohol.
Skip the Alcor report. We will skip the Alcor report because Mr.
Don't
Bruce
skip that.
Powers is
I
going
need
to,
his autograph on 2 of my certificates.
oh, okay, he's going to talk, he's going to be standing up here talking about the East Coast Star Party. He can give us a report at that time. But if we have a presentation, ta-da, Jeff, take it away.
Okay. The Astronomical League presented me with outreach awards.
Yay.
Oh,
Actually, 2 of them. The outreach and the stellar.
okay. Yeah, there are 3 levels of the outreach
There's 3.
award.
You want to go ahead and explain it? There's 3 levels.
Yeah, there's the basic award, the
Stellar
Stellar Award, and I think the Master
and the
Award.
master.
And when I submitted mine, I had thousands of hours.
I'm sure.
One thing about Night Sky Network, if you log your hours in the Night Sky Network, you can go all the way back to 2014 when we started using the Night Sky Network.
And that's exactly what I did.
So even though I had the events that I did prior to that, I couldn't count them. I couldn't figure them out exactly. So I used the Night Sky Network and gave me all my hours. So that's another reason for logging your hours when you participate in an event. So, is there any other old business?
Yes.
I will also mention we've got clothing here, a bunch of t-shirts. I've got some small, medium, large, extra large, 2 extra large, 3X, and yes, Sam.
Is my hat there?
I don't know anything about a hat for her. I've got 3 hats, one for Roland Downing, one for Derek, Derek McDonald, I think, and one for Robert Schmidt.
I'm waiting for the year. I ordered it last April.
I never had one that was designated for Sam.
Do you and Jeff, like, I said it, I gave it to you. I said, did you see my email I sent you about it?
Yeah, I saw the email, but I don't have the hat. What color was it? Well, I've got a
Do you have
blue
a
hat.
blue hat?
Yeah,
You have it here?
yeah, I have it here, but it says Robert Schmidt.
Well, give it to her. and
I'll give it
order
to
him.
Sam. All right, Robert Schmidt,
She's
your
here.
hat goes to Sam tonight.
Yes.
Okay. New business. I would like to mention, we've got 2 events coming up in September and October. The October event is the Barry Art Museum, which we've done for the last 3 years. And this year it's the 11th and 12th, which is a Friday and Saturday night. This time, Sunday is not on the schedule except as a rain date. So I put it on the calendar, on the NSN calendar, the BBAA calendar, as 11th through the 13th, with the 13th as the rain date.
So they shortened it to 2 days instead? Is what
Pardon
you're
me?
saying? They shortened
They shortened it to
fall
2
thing
days,
2
yeah.
days?
2 days officially, and a third if one of those first days is bad.
Well, based on previous years, that's a good option.
Yeah,
But,
well,
what's the theme this year, you know?
it's some random theme. It doesn't,
It's not space rated.
No.
So,
no. And I just received an email today from the Neptune Art Festival. From Teresa Rudisil, Director of Development. She says, we are interested in reaching out to see if there's a way to involve your club and its members in our boardwalk weekend, September 27 through 29. We're always looking for ways to enhance our family-friendly offerings, especially when it promotes local and civic organizations in the community. We know a little about the club and the Night Sky Network, but would love to figure out a way to leverage the festival so you can expand awareness and interest. Would someone be interested in meeting with us to discuss the realm of the possible? Please let us know how we can connect. So I will give her a call tomorrow. This just came in today. I'll give her a call tomorrow and see what we can work out. It sounds like a good way to
I think there's a lot of people at that.
oh yeah,
It'd be a win-win for us.
Sure it would.
Couple.
Is that daytime or nighttime or both?
well, the festival goes up during the day, but of course we would be there even in the dark hours, hopefully.
Well, even if it's just solar viewing.
Well, we could look at the sun, of course, yes, and sell glasses.
Yeah, sell some glasses.
Like, that's- yeah, 1,600 of them.
Everything must go.
Yes, I'll say, see, there's
Only $1.
sunspots on the sun, but if you use these glasses, you can actually see it. Okay. So is there any other new business? Yes,
So when, I was at the eclipse event in the Newport News Library,
right.
the coordinator, I forget her name, but she wanted to know if we'd be interested in doing more events out there.
Yes, yes, we would, and we can follow up on that with the Newport News Library.
I'll send her.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
there was a lot of, public interest on us doing events out that way too.
Great.
Yeah, Joe DiStefano told me about it. He said they had a good crowd.
Yeah.
Good, a
Thank
lot
you
of,
for
lot of
doing
fun. All right, well, our meeting featured tonight, oh, yes,
Back, after the last, December meeting when we met at Stripers, I had a note that just came up about a substitute for that restaurant. Remember?
right.
Did we,
I'm
it's kind of new business, old business, I don't know. if we
Yeah,
discussed it.
I've got that on my list to contact another. Are there any suggestions for a restaurant to have our our December meeting?
What happened? No more strikers.
We were looking for something that was more cost friendly for what you were getting, and because there's not a lot of people there. There's 200 people in the club. There's like 40 people there. And it probably has something to do with the $30 for a plate, of food. It was expensive. It was okay food. It's not bad food.
Yeah, it's
And
good.
we've never been treated badly. It's a great place. But it might be more conducive to get more members. We were thinking to have something a little more cost friendly.
Well, you can't get away with less than $20 at McDonald's anymore.
I mean, I know I've been to
But I,
Elation Brewing has got like, there's a lot of breweries that have like open air, like that are conducive to a big group. Something like that we could do, but we just have to make sure that it's indoor thing because it's December.
Right.
right,
The only thing you'll get in Elation is a food truck.
No, they got food there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got, well, it's not a huge menu, but they got food there.
There's always got.
But like Norfolk's got a lot of unique places to eat, not like a chain restaurant, but a lot of good mom and pop type places to eat. So there's a lot of options. I'm sure if we can get a hold of them. I don't know if anyone else has looked at anything. Kent gave me a couple of ideas, but I forgot to put them in this note here so I can ask him again next time I see him.
okay, we will set up a committee. You're the chairman. To find a place for our December luncheon. And it's already on the calendar. I did not schedule it with Stripers this year. I usually schedule it a year in advance, but I didn't do it this year. Okay,
I remember us talking about it. It seemed
Right.
like,
thanks for,
hopefully we can get more people out.
yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, quick question about the picnic this year.
Yes,
Is that already scheduled?
Yeah,
yes,
Okay, make sure.
I filled out the thing already too, didn't I?
I hope so.
I'm sure you guys gave it to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
I hope so, because this thing here, man.
right.
I'm pretty sure I filled it out, so don't worry.
Okay. All right,
Unless the years are blended together.
like they do, yeah. Okay, meeting feature. We don't have a meeting feature per se, don't have a particular speaker, but I want tonight to be eclipse story night. And so we've got several people, a number of people in this room who were at different sites for the total solar eclipse. And I would like you to tell us your eclipse story. I'll start, and I've got a PowerPoint, but I'm not going to do the whole thing. Let's see, how do you share the screen? Where am I? Share. Okay. Well, this was my PowerPoint, which started out, where were you on April 8th, 2024? And I said, I was at a farm in Attica, Ohio. And I showed pictures of the path of the eclipse, blah, blah, blah. And this is just generic stuff for people who don't know the eclipse. This is Tidewater's eclipse. Glasses for sale. Okay, this is where I had planned to be, Norwalk, Ohio, right near the center line of the eclipse. That zooms in on a little bit. And I had expected to be somewhere near this Huron County Fairground. So I had all my 800 eclipse glasses ready to sell. Well, when I got there to Norwalk, the reservation I had had since May of 2023 and confirmed a week and a half prior, they had canceled me, expecting they could get more money from somebody coming in for the eclipse. So I had to scurry around. I found a place 30 miles away in Fremont, Ohio, but I had also scoped out on the map several alternate viewing sites, and this one was on a road called US 224 near Attica, Ohio.
There's always the drunkard cemetery.
So I zoomed in, and it was a farm right on the center line.
Wow.
I found this on the NASA map on the center line. And so we got to our motel in Fremont. It was 30 minutes north. And my granddaughter Chloe and I drove down, it was almost a straight road, down to this farm. But there was nobody there. I was going to ask permission, but there was nobody there. So we said, well, we'll come back tomorrow, the day of the eclipse, and see what happens. So that's what we did. That house is all run down. It's not where the farmer lives. That's where he grew up. He lives down the road a ways. But we showed up, and it turned out to be a cattle farm. And the farmer drove in about 5 minutes after we did, and we got his permission. And he said, well, he didn't want a crowd at the farm, so he sent us back up off the road, back there, back behind the stuff, so we wouldn't be seen. But it was fine. You could see the sun anywhere. And this is my wife. Whoop, back up. My wife, Linda, my granddaughter Chloe, and her younger sister Evelyn. And there's the farmer, Dave Swartzmiller, and his wife and his son came over, and the 7 of us enjoyed the eclipse. And they already had the eclipse glasses, but I gave them a pair anyway, just to thank them. And then when I got home, I filled out a certificate for each of them and mailed it to the certificate of the eclipse. But I did take a few pictures. That's not mine. That's not mine. That's not mine. But this is pictures of my sun funnel just before the eclipse. At the beginning of the eclipse, when the Cookie Monster just starts to take a bite out of the cookie. And then as the eclipse progresses, you can actually see a sunspot on the middle of the sun there. And this is almost totality, near totality. Let me get them out of the way. And we had a big smile there, but now when it went total, I took the sun funnel out, put the eyepiece in, we looked at the corona, we looked at the sun. I didn't take any pictures of that. And then when the sun, we did see the diamond ring, we did see Bailey's beads, and we saw those awesome prominences coming off the bottom and the right side of the sun. And then when we put it back on, there's totality. This picture was taken, I believe, by Jeff Thornton in Illinois, Indiana.
It was in Nashville, Indiana.
And so I stole your picture.
Confused place.
What's that?
Sounds like a confused city.
And this picture I stole from Jeff Goldstein, Sea Star. There's that prominence at the bottom. There's that prominence on the side. There was one up here too, but it doesn't show up in this picture. There's a couple little ones over here. That was awesome. That was great. And then I tried taking a picture with my cell phone, but of course it was too overexposed because of the corona. But there's Venus. Venus is in the picture and Jupiter is out there outside the picture. So then I had to put the sun funnel back in, and it was a frown. So that was my eclipse experience. And there we are. Any questions? Okay, who's next? Who wants to share? I think Jeff Goldstein does.
Last, because I've got, want to talk about the award.
Oh, okay, okay.
Is there anyone online there? Which
I got,
Okay, let me unshare, stop sharing.
Indiana's one.
That's a filter. Yeah,
That's cool.
except.
Okay.
Look through it.
Anybody else have an eclipse story? Come on up here. Come on up.
So, well, I'll just turn around. I tried to watch the eclipse in Uvalde, Texas, at a ranch.
Hmm.
And it was absolutely cloudy. It was so cloudy, I couldn't tell where the sun was.
Oh,
Oh, my.
Even though it was completely clear the 2 days before and 2 days after. But, and it started raining 20 minutes before the totality, so everyone put away their equipment.
Oh.
And then during the eclipse, the clouds started thinning. And we got a view of the eclipse for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then again, 4 or 5 times, all through the 4 minutes. So that was pretty spectacular in its way. I had a 500mm lens, no longer on the tripod because of the rain. I just flipped it up and took a picture. It's like absolutely miraculous. To flip a lens that big and actually fit an object for the first time. Yeah, so that was just kind of luck.
How'd you photo?
It's okay. It looks like it's out of focus, but it's actually, you're just seeing the clouds. The clouds didn't completely clear. But the reason I wanted to mention my experience is what I did before that. So I spent several days before that at Big Bend National Park. If you've never been there, that's a great place to go for skies. It's incredibly dark. If you go there if you fly into Midland and drive down there, then you go past the McDonald Observatory and that's a good place too. There, I went to a star party there with 300 people at it. It was pretty amazing.
Okay, very good.
I'll tell my story.
All right, John, what's your story?
So I had a conference in Nashville. And let me go back a year before, we have a house up in Maine, up in Rockwood, Maine, which is in its center line. And this spring, my wife and I were talking about, well, we're gonna go to Maine. And said, it's always cloudy and rainy this time of year. It's mud up there. It snowed the day before. But boy, was it not perfect up there. Anyway, we didn't go there. I had a conference in Nashville, so I flew one way to Nashville, Tennessee. And my wife drove out a couple days later when the conference was over to pick me up, and we were on our way to Waco, Texas. And we get to Little Rock, and we had a overnight there. And we're looking at the weather. I downloaded the Daggone Astronomic or whatever it's called, weather, the one you talked about. No, it's showing blankets of clouds over Waco on that day. So we said, you know what? The hell with it. This is a bucket list item. We're gonna change gears. We had to abandon those tickets for the hotel day because they were all prepaid. So we just had to let it go. And we took off for Lima, Ohio.
Lima.
Ohio, yes, as I learned.
Yeah.
Lima. And I still can't get it out of my head. But I found when we get to Lima and there's an observatory there. What? This is great. So the day before we drive over to the observatory, there's a big sign. We're closed for the eclipse, and good luck going somewhere else. But anyway, so then the eclipse, so we at the hotel, I just set up some scopes out on the lawn, and literally everybody in the hotel came over and checked it out. We just had a ball. It was a lot of fun.
Good.
So, yeah, but it was a lot of driving. We drove all the way to. It's just too much.
Well, speaking of Maine, I think it's time for Jeff Edmondson
Yep.
gives us your report.
I went to Sherman, Maine, so didn't want to go to Holton because there was the story of the day was there's gonna be 40,000 people there. I said, I don't need to watch it 40,000 people. Found a Central Park in Sherman. There's a grocery store in this kind of triangular park on the outer edge, and then all the people that lived around the park were sitting on the front porches with cans of beer, potato chips, and that's all it was. It was just myself and then one other family from Bangor. That was it. It was great to not have a lot of people. My experiences were first, I'll start off with looking through totality of the eyepiece. That's the best thing I'll ever see through the eyepiece, period. That was so cool to see. So I remember you said, get a telescope for the eclipse. It was really cool. But one thing that I didn't know what they were, and I had that app where it says, hey, look for the shadow bands. The totality is in 2 minutes or whatever. I saw the shadow bands after totality, and that was a wild experience to see, because the ground was dancing and moving and turned into liquid, so that was awesome. So clear skies, great eclipse, and the totality at 3 minutes and I think 11 seconds for Sherman, it felt long.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I remember it's on camera too, because I had all these cameras going, I said, this is getting kind of long. I tell it doesn't matter. I'm not complaining about that, but it's great. It was nice that it was like, I had a chance to absorb it all and then kind of relax and enjoy it, because the 2017 one felt like 10 seconds. This one felt long.
Did your shadow band show up on your recording?
No, I could look once again, maybe on the one that was more toward the ground, but I was focused more on the kind of horizon view, not to the ground. Then the other one was just looking at a flag and straight up. I'll check again in slow-mo, because I remember when it happened. It wasn't right after totality ended. It was a few moments after that. So I'll look again.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, let's have your question.
You know that prominence at the bottom?
Yeah,
How big do you think that was as far as the size compared to Earth? How many?
that was probably about 7 Earths.
Yeah.
7. Okay, I estimated 5, but
Yeah.
7. Wow.
Yeah.
That's big. It's huge. You see it naked eye. Oh,
Yeah,
that was crazy. Bunch of.
I never thought she'd be able to see a prominence without speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, experience from the Newport News Library?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I actually,
What's your name?
Jimmy,
Jimmy.
I'm not actually part of the club, I'm just Sam's ride,
Right.
but I was there helping out with selling glasses and stuff, but I was also able to get some pretty good pictures. I emailed them to Joe.
Joe DiStefano, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you put them up on your website or anything, but I got some decent pictures with my phone and a pair of solar glasses that I just held up to the lens.
Good.
That's
Good.
what the city
And
said.
about how many people did you have at the library? Couple hundred?
Yeah, I want to say, there was a lot of people, it was very crowded.
Yeah, I heard it
Let's
was,
say at one point or another, we had maybe 150 people gathered. Of course, I don't know how it was on the opposite side of the building, because we kind of set up the telescopes on opposite sides.
right.
It was a lot of people, and we showed up with probably about 250 solar glasses. We sold out of them.
Wow.
Mm.
Cool.
Well, we also couldn't sell them on the property.
Yeah, so we weren't actually allowed to sell them at the library.
Yes,
So-
and Mrs. DiStefano stepped off the property.
No,
Yeah.
me and Mrs. Stefano went to an electrical box just off the property. We're using that as like a booth, and the two of us were just selling the glasses right off the property.
That is cool. Good thinking, ingenuity. All right,
And one more thing, if you got my email, just send me the photos and I can put them on the site.
Yeah, okay, got it.
okay. Tom,
I did my brother-in-law lives in Cincinnati, and I was pretty flippant about whether to go and stuff like that. I really made the decision on Sunday to drive out there, or, the day before or whatever. And, cause I didn't know still was the weather, and it's a 10, 11-hour drive and stuff. But I ended up going, and that morning it wasn't until I got there that I was trying to figure out where to go. I knew Cincinnati wasn't on the
it was right off the
historic
edge.
spot, but it was like,
Yeah.
it was 10 miles away from where the edge was. But I'm like, well, I got all morning to go find a place. So I just got in the car like 9 o'clock. I had 4 scopes in the car, and I just drove for about an hour and a half, 2 hours towards the center line, going through all the back roads that I could. And I was picking out spots. And, I would get to where it was about a 3-minute look. But then I was like, well, I could probably pull off the road over there. And it was an airport up by this Richmond, Indiana. But there was like private property, they wouldn't let anybody on it. But I drove past that, well, maybe I can come back for that one. So I just kept on driving until I was like, well, I better start setting up somewhere. And I ended up in this Richmond, Indiana, which it's like north. It was on the line. It was just north of Indianapolis. And And I went online and they had a site that showed like 10 places where they were having parties at the breweries and stuff like that. But then where I pulled off on the side of the road, there was an Elks Club that was on the list. And it was just, 500 yards in the other direction. So I went to this Elks Club and had a 2-tier parking lot in front of the building. So you park up there and you're above all the trees that were around and stuff like above telephone wires and stuff. And they were serving food and drinks, and they had a golf course behind the club. And there was about 20, 30 people there. And I got there and there was about, two other cars there. They were charging $5 a park or something like that. Nobody ever came by and asked for money and stuff. And there were total, it was about probably 30 people. And there was only one other group from Tennessee that they had the same 8-inch knob that I had and stuff. So we didn't have too much variation, but I had my solar, my Luntz 50 solar, and I had the 8-inch, and I had the PST solar also, but I couldn't get that one. I couldn't get that one on the sun. And then I had this baby blue Mead 80-inch refractor, like $150. And I put the night before I had taped some, some of the batter,
Filter material.
filter material onto the cover that it has. And that scope, I looked through that scope more than I looked through my solar scope, right? It had the greatest, clearest, and I looked through it during daytime and stuff, and at night, and you hardly see anything with it because the lenses aren't that good. But when I put that solar thing on there, I couldn't believe how good it was. But anyway, when I was in the parking lot there, and they were, and it was 3 minutes and 50 seconds, and it was clear as can be. There was just a little bit of haze as the day was going on, kind of thing like that. But it was, it couldn't be any better. And the people were nice there. They had these license plate like solar viewing things.
Oh, for
that they were
goodness
giving
sake,
out and
wow.
stuff. So I brought one of them here.
Nice.
Put it up there, but the sun is only a little, the size of your pinky and stuff like that. But I had a bunch of, like the head poobah of the Oaks Club, I don't know what they're called, but he said I'm the grandmaster or whatever. He was there and was, oh, let me get my wife, come in. And everybody's looking at scopes, which is perfectly fine stuff, but I couldn't believe the dumb luck that I had, that I found a really good spot. And it was nice and sunny and stuff like that. The next day driving back, it was raining the whole way.
Yes, yeah.
So that was, I was very glad that I got in the car and drove out there and stuff.
Okay, we have another one over here.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, this is my first one. So part of some advice I got was although I took my telescope, my camera and all that stuff, I basically went to Enjoy. Now, I did make sure my.
Where'd you go?
I went to Oberlin, Ohio, and I made sure my reservation was confirmed. My daughter had no problem putting me and my wife up. And as far as the viewing spot, well, my son did have to work that day, but his wife was home and so was the kids. So we went out to his place out in the country in Oberlin, and it was fantastic. We had a great time. We had a little picnic lunch and everything, and nobody charged us for parking. And it was just the actual full eclipse is just amazing. Sit there and look around and see the twilight 360 degrees around you. And although I did post a picture I got of the eclipse on the website, I'm not really sure how good it was because wasn't sure what I'm supposed to be seeing and everything. But this is definitely my favorite picture that I took while I was up there. And those who can't see it.
It's your grandson.
It's my 7-year-old grandson enjoying his eclipse glasses 2 or 3 days before the eclipse actually happened. And I will say this, as far as coming back, the eastern exit to Ohio Turnpike was backed up for 1.5 miles from all the people seeing the eclipse. And just about every major interchange on the Pennsylvania Turnpike was backed up to one way or another.
Well, I learned from the 2017 eclipse not to leave the day of the eclipse, stay an extra day.
Well, we were originally talking about doing that, but we had, and my wife and I drive up to Cleveland about once or twice a year. And we usually stay in Berkeley Springs. We break up over 2 days. So we only had to get to Berkeley Springs. And actually, the worst traffic I ran into was just about 5 miles outside of Berkeley Springs. And it was just absolutely stopped for miles on 70 East coming down that hill.
It was,
So we had a great time.
it was fun driving back, because at the rest stops, I was seeing cars that were definitely on the trip coming back from the
Yeah.
eclipse and stuff like that. The cars were packed up, and
Oh,
now you knew that they were.
all those service areas on Ohio and Pennsylvania, like, we go right in the dough that day. I mean, they had lines and everything, from the restrooms to the getting food and everything like that. Again, my wife and I being smart, we had packed sandwiches. We had a great time.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about the East Coast Star Party in a minute, but one more eclipse story.
My name's Kurt, joined the club last year, saw the eclipse from Indianapolis, my daughter and son-in-law. We just picked a park out there and it was a great spot. I had my 6-inch Celestron. So when totality hit, I was looking at it 2 years older. So I was able to see Bailey's beads through the solar filter. Then I pulled that off and looked at the prominences. Blown away by the big one at the bottom. Got a beautiful paint. It's hard to look away, and then I looked up visually and saw I could see it, you know.
Naked eye, yes.
Incredible.
Yeah.
One thing I did notice, I saw it in 2017 as well. At the end of the 2017, the diamond ring, it got bright so fast that I couldn't really look at anything. But with this one, it felt like I had a moment to actually see the diamond ring.
Yes, yes,
That was spectacular.
yes.
So that was go for it.
Okay,
I have an eclipse.
well, come up here, tell your eclipse story, and then go into East
Somebody
KSP.
else got to do their eclipse story from back here.
But you are special. You're special.
So, Jacob and I drove to Indianapolis. Actually, we
Oh,
were
yeah,
very near you.
before.
So this is actually the 4th eclipse I've seen in my life. So I did the tech, I took the Sean Lozier challenge and did look at the corona through a telescope, which was my 600mm lens. So I don't do stills. I learned in 2017, I like to shoot telephoto lens and GoPro, for the wide angle, and DSLR for the narrow angle, and then there's a camcorder of all this going on around us.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that, and I'll merge it together with a soundtrack from the Martian or whatever. But I try to concentrate on the cultural side of all this, which was really intriguing to me. So we went to a fairground called Conner Prairie, which is this northeast of Indianapolis. So we went, it was an event, I paid money, and so they had like an eclipse festival. So they had an eclipse band, they had Stella and the Lunettes playing Bad Moon Rising, okay? So we heard the band, and then they had a Native American dance. Algonquin tribes are very prevalent in that part of the country. So they had a moon dance, lunar thing going on. They had little radio controlled airplanes. We got to pet baby goats. I mean, wow, yeah. We went up in a 500 feet in a higher balloon.
That's cool.
And got to see downtown Indianapolis for a while. So I just wanted to have a backup plan in case this thing was a bust. So we could actually say that we went to Indianapolis and did something, but it was, as has already been told, in Indianapolis was very clear. So we went back to my car after all of the cultural events occurred, and I set up all my stuff. And during totality, you'll hear it on the video. There were some Latino Americans nearby us who we were fairly convinced were on some experience enhancing substances. And so all we heard, for 4 minutes was Dios mío, ay caramba, Dios mío. So it was really neat. And somebody set off fireworks You know, during the totality. So, and the Latino Americans came and spoke to this afterwards and, you know, suspicions confirmed. So, so it was very interesting.
Okay, any other quick stories? Jeff?
I went to Nashville, Indiana, not to be confused with Nashville, Tennessee, but they do have a music center and we saw the Righteous Brothers. They played there the night before. So we went to see that. Anyway, I set up right on the courtyard. It's Brown County and Nashville is the county seat. And the hotel I was staying in was right next to the courthouse. So they had a nice lawn there. So I said, hey, this is perfect. So I just set up right there and had my telescope I usually take out to the Elizabeth River start or the solar events. And I had the camera with an 80mm telescope with a Nikon DSLR attached to it with a program called Eclipse Orchestrator. So the computer was running the shutter speeds on the camera, so I didn't have to bother trying to figure out what to shoot at. And it worked out like it should have.
Good,
We had about 40 people looking through the telescope.
wonderful.
Throughout it.
Anna?
I stay here and I woke up all my preschool students and drive them outside into the backyard and to look through my telescope that I made the solar filter for. And then as they were getting out, our school age students came in and dragged them outside. And I had my Miss Frizzle dress on, so it was nice. They all went home and they were like,
Good. Anybody else? Jeff, go, Jeff. I mean, Sean.
Me too. There's a lot of Jeffs here.
Yeah.
Patrick and I ended up together in Lawrenceville, Illinois. Well, everybody was in the same area, like, we almost went to Indianapolis, but there was like, it was better in that south west corner of the state, so we like, okay, let's go here, it's the best likelihood. And his friend, Dave, that's where his family farm is, like right across the line in Illinois, so we were like 5 minutes from them. But I wanted to set up at a park because I like doing public outreach, so Patrick's like, well, I'll check it out with you, and that's what we ended up doing at a park, and there was, I don't know, 50 to 100 people probably at the park with us. There was other astronomers too, and it was good. I mean, it was very clear. I'm sure though it was very similar to what Indianapolis was, but you know how neurotic you are about the weather. It's like, this is the best spot within driving range.
I wasn't thinking that the time is longer, the further south you would have gone was more length.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got
It
3
was
minutes
long.
and 53 seconds in central Ohio.
it was good. Patrick, between Patrick and I, we had like 6 telescopes. He brought a canopy and had like monitors, or he put cameras in some of his too, so everybody was there, got to see. Well, I mean, because it wasn't my first eclipse, I wanted everybody to look at totality through my 10-inch diode.
Wow.
And so I showed 12 people that were there, besides my wife and Patrick and our group, just 12 strangers, like, come over here, come on, cycle through, cycle through.
Yeah, quickly,
Yeah.
hurry, yeah.
And, I mean, it was awesome. As everyone knows who look through the telescope, it's amazing when you're looking through a telescope.
Yeah, I did the same thing with all 7 of us who were there. I said, hurry, look.
Yeah, I had one kid in the group of that other family. All the parents and all the daughters, they're all excited to see. They all saw it right away. Then the one teenager was like, I'll see it later. And then he walks over and I look at my phone and it says 20 seconds. I said, I don't know if this thing is right. 20 seconds, sorry, it's shut down. And then it was like 15 seconds. I didn't want to have him go blind, but yeah, it was searching He missed out.
Somebody bumped my scope and I couldn't get it back on the sun because I didn't see whether it was so dark. I was just searching for it. I was like, screw it. I just went back to my another scope and I was watching it from there.
Yeah, but it was awesome. I mean, I brought 4 pairs of binoculars, 3 scopes. Patrick had so many, he had more stuff than I did. He brought a van. I was in my car. So yeah, it was cool. But between the 2 of us, and then he drove back. We were both staying in Louisville. Almost at the same hotel. He couldn't get in because he had his dog with him. So he had to like stay in a different hotel, but they drove back to Virginia Beach that night. We stayed in Louisville. And then we went on to Kansas visit my family afterwards, but, so we didn't really hit any traffic. Fortunately, not like 2017. Oof.
Okay, anybody else?
Is there anyone online?
Yeah, just anybody on the.
Actually, may I share my screen real quick? I made a time lapse with my Sea Star, if that would be permitted.
Sure.
Sure.
Yes.
Let me see if this will work here. So I got stuck at work, unfortunately, and I work at Western Branch Middle School, and we were not allowed to go outside until after the kids had left. I'll just kind of scrub over it because it shakes around a bit, but this is what it looks like out in Chesapeake. And it
Nice.
bumped around a little bit, but I think it did a pretty good job. I got, a little bit of a late start, but
Very good.
it looked pretty good going through, I think.
Spot was this for.
Oh,
Yeah, there's two of us. That was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a couple of good sunspots on it.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay.
One more question. Did you end up burning down that hotel and canceling your reservation?
No, I was very.
Because I ran him. That's crazy.
I might give her bad ratings.
Drive all the way there and have that happen? or-
Especially a week before. Gee,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you confirmed it.
yeah, I did confirm it
That's
the week
great.
before.
that's why I mean confirming a week
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
and
And
then
they're like, oh, wait, this guy didn't pay full price yet.
Yeah.
I saw a can of gas in the back of
Okay,
Rags, it's sticking up.
You see how he's changing the subject.
Bruce, give us a rundown on the East Coast Star Party, and then we have one last presentation from Jeff Goldstein.
Okay.
So don't take all night.
Hot. Are you implying I'm long-winded?
Yes.
Okay, so for Alco report, mentioned this briefly last month. I want to congratulate Jonathan D. Sheets out in Radio Land, the second, for achieving his Planetary Nebula Observing Award. Big round of- Jonathan, would you like to engage your acceptance speech now or not? No. I take that as a no. Okay, all right. Moving on to the East Coast Star Party. Jeff, can you start passing those out? Sure. So I've got flyers. Like Rich mentioned, we need about 4 more registrations to be sure we're going to break even. Long story short, there is a extensive website created by our awesome Sean Lozier that discusses everything that's on here. Long story short, May 9th, Thursday, registration open. By the way, the deadline for registration is tomorrow. So if you have any intentions of going, please register so that we know how much food to buy. So May 9th, Thursday, registration 10 opens. And then we've got all night observing and free coffee all night. Technically, the event starts at 2 o'clock on May 9th at Chipmunk State Park. May 10th, Friday, is public observing night, 6 to 10 p.m. So prepare for the invasion. If it's clear, we're going to get invaded. Last September, we had over 110 guests logged by the park rangers. So
Over 200.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So there you go. So please be patient. But Chip Oaks is our host, and this is one of the ways that they promote the park. Local sunset is at 8:02. Again, free coffee all night and public observing. May 11th, 5:30 p.m. We're gonna burn burgers and hot dogs. Well, we're gonna cook them, and we're gonna have a nice potluck. I've got $800 worth of raffle prizes. Got some 10 books. Got about 4 donated eyepieces and a bunch of other eyepieces that I bought. So come out and claim yours, okay? And again, it's all night observing and free coffee all night. And then May 12th, the start party ends. Okay, so all the information is here. You are allowed to camp on field if you would like. If you have an RV, you should already have a reservation in the RV area.
Can I add something real quick?
Yes, sir.
If anyone has looked at the weather report, do not plan on parking a big camper on the field. It ain't gonna happen.
Right.
It's supposed to rain like Thursday and Friday is what it's saying right now,
Okay.
which means you'll be in the sawmill area.
Yeah.
If you're over 20 foot is what the ranger said, I think.
Yeah.
You'll be in the salt.
Okay.
And didn't the farmer plant, straw in that field?
No, the sawmill area is, not in the field. Yeah, you can't park in
We're
the
not gonna
field.
plant, we're not gonna be setting up in the same field we were
No.
last year.
You'll be setting up where Mel, in the grass area where Mel and I were, from there all the way down to like a quarter mile, third mile, something like that. Yeah,
Okay,
that whole area, it's a big area.
well, so it's only a forecast. Okay, forecasts are what they are.
That's true.
So
I'm not trying to, we are still gonna have fun.
here's our expert, so.
The ground will probably be wet though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm just saying the park said that you won't be able to put those heavy trailers on the grass.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
I really
Yeah.
They're
don't.
trying to get us into, the activity room at the mansion.
Yep.
If it's raining,
Yep.
like, we got some stuff planned, like
We've
maybe a
got some
movie.
alternatives. We might do a movie night. So anywho, I can personally attest from getting rained out at Stunt River in March that it's a big giant mess. If you want to put a giant heavy RV on the field, don't do it.
Yeah,
So you will not be able to get out. They had to tow 2 people out at Stunt River. It's a big mess. Okay,
So
Great,
if you're 20 foot or less, you'll be okay, but over 20, just plan on the salt.
okay, for our committee, myself, George, Sean, and Rich, is everybody clear what we're doing? Who needs to do what? So, y'all should have assistance from Jeremy Mitchell to buy food. He said he would do that. Other than that, I've got everything ordered and everything in place that we discussed at the last site visit. So without going into that
I'm
detail.
gonna order the shirts and the
Yep.
coffee cups.
Okay.
And that one extra sign that you guys wanted
Yep.
to help. And then
Okay.
I'll go to Harbor Freight and get those lights, they'll shine on it for Mother Night,
Okay,
and I'm good.
all
I
right.
won't spend any more problems.
And item last, I'm gonna contact the ranger, Trevor Johnston, and make sure he doesn't have any last minute, oh, by the ways. Other than that, please come out, have a great time, and we'll see you next week.
Quick question. When I mention this, for, let's say, I'll mention it maybe Thursday.
Uh-oh.
For a public observing night, is there anything I should say or shouldn't say, or do you not want me to mention it at all?
I would say that they should call the park, to verify,
Because of the weather, I would say,
Right.
Yeah.
call the park to make sure,
Call the
because
park to
it's
make sure
Friday's one of the rain.
weather will
days.
cooperate.
Yeah,
Because
obviously,
Yeah.
I would, based on the forecast, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be rainy.
we've had, Skywatch events at Northwest River Park where it was pouring down rain and people went there anyway.
Yeah.
And then I got bombarded with texts of when does the show start? Never,
Right,
okay, so.
People
call the
think-
park.
but you're gonna-
Okay.
They think they're magicians, we're making everything go away when we snuff the town.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
you can announce it, but the
Yeah, that,
weather is the factor.
that
Yeah.
part is weather dependent.
Yep.
But thank you for the shameless plug, we appreciate it.
yeah.
I've seen your work, it's great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks. Okay, cool.
No, I don't think that'll be too many people, because it is in Surrey. It's a lot of wind. It's like when we do that Windsor thing. Everybody's worried, like I advertise on Facebook.
Well, we had about
And we
300,
only have like 10 to 20 people show, but it's not like thousands.
we had about 300 people last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good part is too, if a bunch of people show up, the Rangers are the one handling it.
That's
Yeah,
We don't
that's
have to
good
worry.
too. Yeah.
We just have to show the sky. That's what we're there for.
Yeah,
Okay, our last session tonight will be Jeff Goldstein talking about the the Solar Eclipse Award from the Astronomical League.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Get ready to submit your data.
I'm gonna go for it. And it's not easy if you want to get the gold award. But whoever said it had to be easy, right? Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can start my show here. This thing's in the way. All right. I do have, I asked to be last on the solar eclipse stuff because I just brought one picture. I figured you'd have thousands of pictures of it. So, and George already showed mine. So you're gonna see it one more time. Okay, this is the Astronomical League's award for total solar eclipse. And I got the last one for the Mercury. I got the one for the Venus transit. And I like these technical awards, technical things, because it takes a lot of work. So that was mine with the two little, I don't know if you can see it out there with the two little flares. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, why don't we have a solar eclipse each month? This slide is very, very important if you want to get the award, because you do have to have a little bit of technical knowledge. So as you can see, the sun's in the middle, the earth revolves around the sun, the moon revolves around the earth. There's a solar eclipse because the moon just crossed the upper node. That's the node where, because of the 5-degree tilt of the moon, it's not exactly on the same plane as the ecliptic. This is the ecliptic, and this is the moon's path, and it goes up 5 degrees at the highest point, comes back down descending node, and that could be a lunar eclipse back there, and back around again. But it's not always in sync, as you can see here. You will see in a minute. But just remember, what you're looking for is when the node, or when the moon crosses the node. In this case, we want the ascending node. Why the ascending node? Because you can have an eclipse on the descending node too. But for this award, they're only interested in the ascending node. A couple of things in, let me see if I can click OK. There we go. The definition, synodic month, the time it takes for the moon to return to the same phase. Now I chose the phase, the first quarter. I thought, well, okay, I'll try to document when the first quarter happens and, you know, figure out where it is. The draconic month is the time it takes for the moon to return to the same node crossing. And in this case, we want the time it takes to return the same ascending node crossing, okay? And the Saros period of 18.03 years. And this is actually the goal of the whole thing, is to try to figure out how long it will take to get the same eclipse, maybe in a different part of the world, but the same shape of the eclipse in a different part of the world. In this case, it's the one that goes through Florida, I guess, at 2045, something like that.
August 12th, 2026 is when we're going over Iceland Bay.
Right, that's a good point.
My wife and I are saving no money.
And it's not just eclipse every 18 years. In a different Saros cycle, there's another eclipse going on. And that's what's it, 2 years? Almost 2 years? So that's a good point too. And I thought, well, why is there eclipses almost every year? And then this one's 18 years away? Because this is a certain cycle. So there's several Saros cycles running concurrently. All right. Now this is a busy slide, right? Can't even read the top. Can I move this stuff over? Partial. This is a partial data and observations. And so you're looking at this stuff and you go, what am I looking at? Well, I'm writing all this stuff down, I'm documenting every day I'm doing this. I noticed the first quarter moon, the 19th of December, I wrote the data down, and the declination and all that stuff we can explain later. So I wrote down the Julian day too. I thought that might be important because days between dates, you got to calculate, you know, how many days between the different things. All right, so that's just a partial data, and data is just data without information. But to make it information, we got to put some intelligence in here. So what are the uses for this data? Look for the dates of the same phase of the moon, first quarter. Look for the node crossings where the node crosses the ecliptic ascending. So what am I looking for then? I'm looking for the declination to go from, or the ecliptic declination of the moon to go from negative to positive. So that's one of the node crossings right there in between 19 December and 21 December last year. So that's what I got when I observed it. And by the way, I use this very, very accurate stick, you know, and it's got divisions, 1 degree divisions. And on my spreadsheet, I even calculated how far these divisions should be. If your eye is 1 meter away and to get 1 degree, and I've got this calibrated in degrees, arc length. So if you'd like to take a look at that. So that's how I figured out, you know, how many degrees is it from Alpharats and how many degrees is it from Pollux? And so you'll see that on the data too. So far, so good, huh? But so we're looking for the ecliptic declination of the moon. But where is that found? Where do you find the ecliptic declination? So here's where you, whoops, that's my interpolation calculations. So I'll skip that. So you get a star chart, and if you notice that the first one, let me go back a couple click. The first one was 31 degrees south of Alpharats. That's where the moon was. So 31 degrees south of Alpheratz, and Alpheratz is the great square of Pegasus, which is right here. That's Alpha Pegasi. No, it's Alpha Andromeda. And so 31 degrees southeast of that is someplace right in here, right? And there's the ecliptic line. Now, if you can see this, this is a copy of the Norton Star Atlas. So you have to get a star atlas and try to correlate what you're seeing with what's on the atlas. And that's how you figure out how to plot it. And so when I did it, and you have to draw this, by the way, you have to draw these things and figure out that that the moon was so far, you know, 30, in this case, 31 degrees arc length from Alpheratz. And there's the moon. And I got 2 degrees below the declination. So if you look right here, 2 degrees below the declination, Alpheratz right in here someplace, okay? All right, so that's how I figured that out. Plot the moon. So I figured out this is to the nearest, they want it to the nearest 2 degrees. I wonder, why is it to the nearest 2 degrees? We could get more accuracy. I figure mine's at least accurate to a half a degree there, but I got it to the nearest half a degree as good as I could. All right. You all also need, I'm going to go back, because how do you know where it crossed the ecliptic ascending? The moon was ascending, and I interpolated this data from -2 degrees to +5, and it took how many days? 2 days. So I used this formula right here. The total degrees from 0, which was -2 to begin, the total degrees was 3. No, total degrees was 2.5. Okay, so it's 2.5, the total degrees, and the total days was 2. And if you cross multiply, you get 2.5, x equals 4, x equals 1.6. I put this on the spreadsheet, it's really easy to do. So that's assuming that's a linear relationship for the interpolation, which is a good assumption, I guess. And this, I did the same thing for this one on 2 days later, figured out that the moon was above. So if it goes from below the ecliptic to above the ecliptic, that's an ascending node. Makes sense, right? And figured out the day it happened was 20.6, since 1.6 plus the 19th is 20.6. So I changed that to Julian date. I used that to move this over so you can see it, to figure out when the, I lost my finger. So I have to figure out when how far these node crossings were apart. So I figured out, I guess you can't see it on this one because I've got it zoomed in a little bit, but I'll get to that at the bottom. All right. So we're supposed to continue this for at least 6 months. That's part of the award. It says to do it, gather at least 6 months of data. 6 months of data, well, the eclipse is over with. Am I too late to do the award? No, you're not too late. You can still get the award because you turn it in, I think it's October or August, I forget. You got a few more months. So I need a few more months data myself. So here's what you have to do. Calculate the synodic cycle, calculate the draconic cycle. And down at the bottom, it says, calculate the Saros. That's the final goal. So there's a ratio here. These are the actual numbers, so you know what to shoot for anyway. The synodic cycle, that's the number of days between the exact same phase. And that's the exact number, if you can get that number. I couldn't get that number yet. And the exact draconic cycle, that's every time the moon crosses the node ascending. Ascending to the next ascending, not node to node, because it would just be 14 days or so. But the next draconic cycle is 27. And if you put all this together, and this is what's you're supposed to come out with 6,585.3 days for this many cycles. So the number of cycles is 223 and 242. If we can get that, you're really good. You're better than the Babylonians. The Babylonians did this a long time ago. That's what I couldn't understand. Gosh, here I am interpolating and do all those crazy math things. And these Babylonians knew it way back there, 6,585 days. All right, so this is, I wrote a little program because I'm a computer program nut. And so my little program figured out from my data so far that I've got 229 cycles of the synodic, 247 draconic, gives me a very, very close ratio, difference between the two multiplied together, the X times Y multiplied times together. You get 6,775 days, which puts me about a year or so beyond the actual number. It's supposed to be 65, 85, right? So how can you do that in 6 months? I think it would probably take a normal person maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe more, to gather that much data. But to do it with this much data, that's pretty darn good. It's only a couple % off. So it's possible to do it. And I didn't want to bore you because you can download all that stuff from the Astronomical League. I mean, I didn't want to go over each line because it took, I read it 15,000 times and I couldn't get anything out of it. What am I supposed to do? It just keeps hinting. You have to look for the synodic and you have to look for the draconic. And here's what I did. Bottom line, let me see if I can go back. I did, maybe I didn't put that other. Now this is the other slide. I need to look at the bottom because at the bottom, I wrote, I'm not going to use my moon same day phase because it's so subjective. You know, I think it was the first quarter, but that wasn't the exact time of the first quarter. And I think that was the first quarter the next month, but that wasn't the exact time either. So I wrote all these down. I subtracted all those and took the average, and it came up like instead of 29.8, it came up 29.4, and it won't work. The thing won't work. It won't be a harmonic number to come out with that many years, 18 years. It just doesn't work. So I'm going to tell Astronomical League, I'm going to use the data from the Griffith Observatory for the synodic, and I'm going to use mine draconic data, which is coming out pretty good. So these numbers right here are coming out pretty good. So that's the way I did it, and I'd be glad to answer any other questions from you guys. Yes.
Jeff, please feel free to provide feedback to Astronomical League on their wireless writing or lack therein.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of history, and you know, the guy's son was born that day or something. Who cares about that, you know? All you want to know is, what do I have to do to get the award? So I figured all this stuff. I don't care about his son's birthday and all. You'll see it when you read it.
They need your feedback.
I know. Well, I'm going to give it to them. I don't want to make them too mad, so they reject it. Well, I know you've made them mad, and you're the representative.
Yeah.
So that's interesting too. But you do have to put all this stuff together. I have made that little thing. It doesn't say to make this. It just says measure to the nearest 2 degrees, plus or minus 2 degrees, where the moon is. Well, how can you do that?
Did you try to put in your more accurate data?
Yeah, I even put in the exact data for this length of time, and it still didn't come out right. I've been working on this since December. I really have.
And use it as a slide rule, that's probably.
Slide rule, yeah, I can get 3-figure accuracy on a slide rule. I always could do that.
Have you tried talking to the Babylonians?
No, I need some communication to them. I do. So I didn't want to make it a real long presentation, but I'll be glad to stay after the meeting and share with you some other stuff that I came up with too. So
I do have one thing to add.
Sure.
There's multiple levels to the award.
Oh, that's
Just
true. I
trying to
didn't
get-
make.
So don't be discouraged. You can get the basic one.
Yeah, I think this is
Okay.
the most.
This is the most advanced.
This is the advanced one, the gold, and the silver is, I don't remember all the requirements. I don't think you have to do all the calculations,
Yeah,
but you have to show some of the pictures and the times. Oh yeah, I did have to record the times and all
Their
that.
observations, you know, the shadow bandy, and when you saw that related to.
Right, the
when it went
experience,
Past totality.
Right. when the street lights came on. I mean, I've got a long list of things that happened.
yeah.
It's really interesting.
I don't know if I'll get to that step, but I'm gonna do one.
Okay, and it's also a certificate suitable for framing that you can give to anybody that say you saw it, you know, even the partials, it's okay. So you don't have to go to the total like I did to get this. You can still get it from other data and other people's stuff.
Yep.
Any questions, y'all?
Chip, can you do, have a breaking or data taking, like, let's say you can't do it for a month?
Sure, I'm sure you can.
It's still,
Because overall, you know what I learned overall, that if you miss a whole cycle, one of the ascending nodes, it'll still average out because the data, the length of the data divided by the number of months it should have been, it'll still work out. And I even averaged individually to try to say, okay, what was the average of this and this and this, and average the averages, and they were the same. So either way, it comes out the same whether you see that node or not. It's hard because the weather, you can't always see the moon. So I planned it to see the moon for certain things, and I just accidentally, if you notice this, let me call it back one more time. If you notice this, I accidentally hit one of the nodes pretty close to what it was. I mean, it was really close. Where's my here? This one right here. Well, this one was lucky. I happened to hit the day of the crossing. It was, I mean, I looked on the planet, what do you call it? The application on my tablet, and it was pretty close.
Sky Safari.
Sky Safari, yeah, that's exactly what I used. And it was pretty close to 0. It's like 0.2 or something like that. But if you only want 2 degrees plus or minus for the moon, I figured, okay, that's a node, and I was very lucky to get an ascending node that day. I didn't try to, it just happened. So every now and then you don't have to interpolate. And they did mention extrapolating. So that was what that last program did, extrapolating from all the data that you've taken, extrapolating what's supposed to happen at the end. And that's what I did.
Jeff, we are very proud of you for going through all
I'm gonna
that
get it.
rigmarole.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
I know you could do it.
I knew it too. I knew it too.
George, I actually forgot one thing.
Yes.
I made a bunch of stickers up for the eclipse.
Oh.
And they screwed up my order, so they sent me the new one, and I was like, "Damn, whoever wants one." You did.
Okay, we'll get one.
So,
All right, thank you.
yeah, feel free. I'll save some for you guys online there.
Any other comments or questions before we break up? Well, thank you all for sharing your eclipse stories, and thank you, Jeff, for that presentation. And yes, Anna.
If anybody's ever interested in visiting a international dark sky spot, I got one. Natural Bridge, Virginia, about 4 hours away. I went up there. Yeah, we went up there to celebrate my mom's birthday at the drive-through safari, and we happened to go to the state park, and they had to do flash photography pictures. And it's a designated international.
Natural Bridge State Park, James River State Park, Stanton River State Park, and there's 2 others. Sky Meadows State Park, and there's one more I can't think of. All right. Meeting adjourned.